Hi, beautiful people. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening and hanging on there with me, with us all. Um, so this week I felt very, very strongly, especially in the last days, that I have to come up here and bring you some messages, some maybe share some practice that could help you because um I don't think I've talked to any person this week who hasn't been feeling like in the middle of madness. So very high in one moment and so very low in another moment, and it feels like you look around and nothing makes sense anymore. Um, that real common human um, sense of things are just gone and everything is contradictory. In the same paragraph you read one thing and then two sentences later you read the exact opposite of it. So this is really the kind of the edge where we are. And um and then if you feel the same, like it's not you going mad. Obviously, it's crazy. It's how it is now, and there's of course many different ways to experience that. There's a lot of uh, happening in the bodies because things are really getting serious, physical, tangible. So probably you're also feeling your body um, talking to you, showing you things that you really need to get now seriously. And and the feeling of lack of control in things, like that you cannot mentally or physically control uh, even what's going on in your very private micro life. Um, that sense sense or that sensing is also very, very common nowadays. And if I wanna share what I think about what's going on, so we've been feeling this polarization for so long, and that this is getting it's like the pendulum, right, going to one side to the other, and it somehow got very fast. And with that pace it got also very intense. So well, you could kind of work out the gap between things before. It's just impossible because everything is getting so strong and so visible and almost really tangible, touchable. Um, and and it's impossible. So it's like going on the infinity, right? Um, and and we used to be more on the sides or move between that, and there was somehow time for us to move from this end to this point to the other. um, and and we could kind of adjust to what we were seeing right in the moment, even if a few weeks later we saw something different, maybe the opposite. But we managed to work this out. Was now we are so close to the singularity point of this infinity wave or form or shape, that even just in a friction of a second, you can flip to the other side, and all of a sudden nothing makes sense. So it's like um, really being on both sides of the coin at the same time, and the coin is so thin that and you're so much in the middle that you turn your head just a tiny little bit to one side or the other, and it's like two very different things. And of course it's not just two-dimensional, so that adds to the chaos. um this is very, very hard to navigate, especially when you're used to being able to make sense of things, and when when you used to make plans from your with your mind, from your head, and when you used to be somehow consequent with your things, or follow some kind of patterns, or processes that made sense. Well, this is not how it works now. Um, eh, the other thing that is happening is like we're literally seeing. So I had these very funny um, situations where we're literally seeing in slow motion systems, things falling apart. So it's just like the other day I came home and did a small grocery, and I didn't have my bag, of course, you know the situation. So everything is kind of tucked under my arms, and kind of try to uh, take the things from the cart to the door. And there was a little jar with jam, and it slipped, and it fell on the concrete, and of course, it shattered. And I was like in a slow motion. I was watching it, almost like no emotions attached, but literally watching as it was falling down on, as it reached the concrete. And I saw, and I could um, rewind it in my mind. I could just draw it for you if I wanted, if I could draw it that well. But so, like how the glass broke into small pieces, and how it dropped. You know, the small pieces dropped in different places in an area, and also at the same time, like how the gem was very slowly moving out of the jar, and kind of yeah, spread out a little bit. Thankfully not, it didn't make too much of a mess, but so it was a very interesting experience, and also like being conscious about, or you knowing exactly what was happening. Like, okay, so this is gone, and then I'm gonna have to come in and clean this up later, and the glasses, no one should come out until it's cleaned up, and so on. So all those thoughts. And I used to experience that when I'm in sessions with someone, when I'm doing a reading, or I'm I'm in full presence with someone, and their thoughts, and their emotions and feelings, and energetically, so on different levels. And I often find myself in this situation when I have a full focus, having thoughts on different levels, in different dimensions almost, and experiencing that in the physical, in a very mundane situation, was a very funky experience. Or the other thing, so I'm moving things around in the house, and then we had this quite fragile system in our bedroom for storing our clothes, and it was already kind of adjusted, so it was more um, it was more stronger, and it could hold better. Um, but anyway, so I had to move that. And with the moving, this kind of fragile things, which were almost like for temporary solution, I kind of managed to put it into the other room, and I managed to put the clothes back, and it's like an open system, and I'm standing there, and I sew bit by bit, again in slow motion, how one piece started to crack, and then the other started to very slowly shift, and the clothes started to very slowly um, slide and move, and the whole thing was just like moving from the wall towards. There was nothing dangerous about it, obviously. Um, and again, I had this very interesting, funky mental state where I'm standing there. I know exactly it's going to fall apart. I know exactly I'm gonna need to kind of go and clean it up and put it all aside. I guess I can't fix it anymore. And having all these thoughts, how great of a symbol it is about what's going on, and so on many levels. And I'm just standing there and I'm just laughing with my daughter that maybe we should actually record this because it is could be such a funny video representing how everything is the old systems, right? That are kind of somehow put together, but not really firmly, not really um, with a long term um, perspective or idea. So that was also fun. Of course, it collapsed, and of course, I had to throw the whole thing out practically. And I'm kind of relieved that it's gone. It's not something that I wanted to keep anyway, because it's if it's not holding, if it's not uh, sustainable, I don't want it. We don't need it. So coming back to these, these moments, these like, and of course these are very physical things, but I had experiences like that with very abstract things as well, like man-made systems. So there are two elections that I'm holding space for Denmark, and which happened this just a few days ago, and this week, and for the Hungarian elections, right? That is coming in up in April, and of course, especially the Hungarian one is very critical. But even the Danish became so uh, absurd. Um, it became so clear. I mean, compared to the Denmark and the Danish politics that I used to know, and it became so clear that nothing ever made sense anymore. Um, that people can go living in a small country on a relatively narrow scale of, political extremities, and still can come up with so different ideas and can get so disconnected from the basic uh, natural human and just in general the natural um, sense or the natural order of things, if that makes any sense. So, like, how could that slip out? How can people say things like this? How can they behave? And how can it also make me feel like I'm in danger or like yeah, I probably need to prepare for something. And I'm aware, of course, that there are people who are in danger in the world, and there are terrible, terrible situations. But so the ripple effect of everything, the interconnectedness of everything, like whatever happens in uh, thousands of of kilometers away, how can they impact my little bubble life, or any one of us is, and how can I, of course, we're also probably here in this community, but I am definitely very, very connected to the collective psyche and the collective energies. And I'm aware that not everyone is um, uh, part of that nervous system so directly, but um, it is also getting very clear, I think, or very kind of, again, tangible, how everything is connected, and then you cannot be really separate from things happening outside. There's no outside, right? So yes, and there was one more thing that I wanted to mention, and kind of jump back to the softening theme that's been so important for months, and that's been coming back again and then again, because because um also see a lot of pain, a lot of uh, struggle and fear, and I know that also in myself, right? Existential fear popping up from nowhere. And the next moment it's gone. It's completely the other end. It's I'm high, and I couldn't be more optimistic and lively. And the next time I'm paralyzed almost, and I'm like, I just want to disappear. I don't want to be here. So that has a lot to do with what most of you probably feel about the big changes coming, right? Being in the middle, or very close to the middle of that flipping, um, and and the resistance, right? The resistance that come with that. So when there is pain, when there is struggle, when there is big fear, or stress, or that's always to do with the resistance, and with the rigidity, or with the uh, bringing up the guards again. And I'm sure that if you had the time, the capacity, the space to observe yourself, you have experienced that in situation where usually, or with people where you are not meant to be guarded, something comes up, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's happening? I'm not the I'm not the person I was 2 minutes ago or 2 seconds ago. Uh, um, I put on some kind of role again, or some face, some facade that is not exactly what I'm thinking or I'm wanting to share with this person. Um, and that calls for more softening, for more literally like um, releasing the tension and softening the tissues in the body. So if you have experienced any pain, um, if you have experienced something mm, um, that is becoming like an illness, or a feeling that something is really becoming dense in the body, um, that's because of that resistance. And I used to wake up the last weeks every night. I used to be again very negative about that. How I should be sleeping, and all the anxious thoughts come to me about anything and everything. I begin to judge what I just said or did that day, or whatever, tiny things which really don't matter. And instead of, at one point, I decided, somehow it was very clear, like what I'm doing in that early hour. I'm I'm creating time and a space to connect with something bigger than me, outside of me, and deeply within me, right? And I have the choice to do that. And to connect, I have a choice to tune into the frequency I want to connect with. So, um, with that, in that state of mind where you're not really awake and when you're not really in control with the human mind, um and for some people, I know it's dream. There's so many of people telling me about their insane dreams, very vivid and often very horrific dreams. So again, for some it's dream time. For some it's like this half awakened period where your brain is on a different wave length. And so we have the still the power to decide um, on what frequency do we want to tune in. Like tuning the radio station. So I managed to turn these hours around, and instead of having these haunting thoughts and negative future pictures and visions and whatever, instead of that, I stop. I take a few deep breaths, and I'm like, oh, great. So I'm using these monk hours, and I call them in myself, because these are like around 2, 3 a.m. These are the hours that traditionally, in practically all religions, they used to use to connect with spirits and with the higher realms. It was a praying hour. So the monks actually walk up to these dark hours to connect and to pray. And so I call it the monk hour. So I managed to turn them around and use that to connect with um, with my loving higher self, with my loving guide, with my with a loving group of creatures, whatever comes through, but definitely from a higher frequency. And I open myself to things. Sometimes I actually have to get out of bed, move myself a little bit, tune my body, my whole being into that state where I can um, come back to stillness and to like that stillness which is still active, right? And do a little bit of a breath work and do this softening and do this connecting and ask for clarity, ask for guidance, or ask for peace in me, in myself, in my family, in my home, in the world. Um, ask for higher meaning, and it always helps. And I'm I'm feeling that gratitude, that connectedness, um, that higher purpose of being here, um, and um, and that expansion. And I thought I would share that with you, so maybe that also gives you some idea about how to use those hours a little bit more consciously. I know that some people are very capable of grabbing paper and pen during these hours and journaling. It's also beautiful. Um, Again, journaling, well, connecting with your soul, writing and keeping a conversation up on paper. That is so much more powerful than in your mind. Um, I even know that, sometimes I feel very called to get my cards and get into communication with that. But there is also very simple things that I wanted to share, and it was a very simple practice, um, and that in the last few days I used to do in these hours, and of course you can do it anytime, and it's very much focused on this softening, right? Physically softening your tissues, your body, and your whole being. So, if you feel and if you have the space right now to do it with me, then I invite you to do that. If you want to come back later, then that's also great. But so what the whole idea is really to drop into the body with a few deep breaths. Um, and I will show you this time a special breath, which I love to do for kind of scanning the body and also expanding the body. Um, and through this breathing, connecting with the body and with all different parts, feeling into the tension and breathing into the tense the into the dense parts of your body. So yeah, take a comfortable seat. If you feel like, of course, you can lay down. It's up to you. And for the first few breaths, just really breathe in deeply, however it comes, and focus on the exhale. uh, with the intention of releasing what's kept in the body with a big sound if you want, with a dropping of the shoulders and the upper body, and almost like pressing the air out of your lungs and your stomach. And then it's just arriving. And when you kind of feel that you released a lot of the used stuck air, then I'd like you to pay a little bit of attention on your posture. So find a position where your spine can be long and nicely kind of built up. Um, if you want, you can use a chair or pillows to back them up or back it up your back. And now as we are dropping into the breath more and paying more attention to the rhythm of your breath and the rhythm of the body as you're breathing in and out. Long, long breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. In and out. And with the next breath, I would like you to do a 3-4 step of breathing in, right? So first you breathe into your belly and then keep in breathing in into your solar plexus and keep expanding the breath into your chest, lungs, upper lungs, and pull up the breath to the head. Okay, so again, with what breath you can start in the stomach or even in the pelvic area, or in the belly and pelvic area, and you can expand the space where you breathe in until you reach the top of your head. For some people, it's going to be 3 steps, for some people 4, or for some people, it's going to be like a flow of expansion. But the idea is to start in the lower area and expand through the breath. And then when you exhale, you come up, you come down from the top of your head and press the air out of your system until you reach again your belly area. And with the next breath again, up to the head. You're very welcome to use your hands to follow the breath and the energetic expansion and physical expansion and the compression as well. Yeah, let's do it a few more times. Try to find your rhythm. And try to Lean into this breathing, into this rhythm, into this waving with your whole body. So as you breathe in, as you come up, you feel how your body is expanding, the chest, the shoulder, the whole head area, and how you are almost not collapsing, but compressing yourself like the waves of the ocean. And use your body. And most importantly, follow your own rhythm. So I give you a few moments in silence to really feel into your own rhythm. And now with the next breath, you are going to connect your body with your body even more intimately. And as you're breathing, I would like you to scan the different parts, the different organs with the breathing, and scan where do you feel any tension. Is it in your stomach area? Is it in your solar plexus area? And not just the middle of it, but on the sides too, right? We have so important organs around here. Is it the lower back around kidneys? Or even close to your spine? Is it in your chest? In your breast? Around your collarbones? Shoulders? Your upper back? Your throat? Your jaws, ears, face, or the back of your head or the top of your head? And when you kind of spotted those places, again, just note it and start with the first one. If there are several places, that can be, start with this first one, which is the most to the bottom of your system. And breathe deeply into this area. And with every deep breath, say in your mind the following lines or something along these lines that resonates. Even though with the inhale, sorry. Even though I'm in this situation, I allow myself to soften, to trust and soften. Even though I fear this situation, even though I feel the tension, I allow myself to trust, to soften. I allow myself to lean into what's coming again. I feel the tension and I soften. With the inhale, I feel the tension. With the exhale, and I soften. This is deep surrendering, deep allowing and acceptance of what is here, of what is coming. Inhale and say, I feel the tension. I see myself resisting. And with the exhale, I allow myself to soften into it. Anyway, I feel my resistance and I soften with love and trust. Try to form these sentences, these thoughts, until you really find the one that speaks to you, that feels truly yours. I see my resistance and I soften into it anyway. I see my resistance in this situation and allow situation anyway. Beautiful. And stay with that part of your body that you're working with as long as it needs, as long as you need, as long as you feel some kind of peace, maybe as you experience some kind of expansion in this area. Maybe you feel bodily sensations of chills, shaking. Maybe you start to yawn. Maybe you feel or experience some kind of lightness in this area. Maybe you actually see the light there. I see the tension. I see the resistance. And I love it. I soften into it. I surrender to it. Maybe you feel some warmth occurring. You feel some lightness. And when you feel that, stay with that for a few moments. Just stay in that lightness, stay in that expansive space and state. Maybe you want to rest your breath, breathing for a little bit. Really just enjoy. Enjoy this void. And maybe after a few minutes, you're ready to move on and find the next part of your body, the next organ that needs a little bit softening. Try with the scanning breath again, starting with your belly, coming up, solar plexus, chest, throat, and the head, and exhaling all the way back to the belly and out. So, where is the next area where you feel the resistance, where you feel the tension? Go there and start the cleaning in that area. Inhale through your nose and say, I see the resistance, I feel the resistance. And when you exhale, and I love and soften this part anyway. I see the resistance in this situation with this person, anything that comes up. And exhale and say, and I surrender to it. I lean into it anyway. I stay with it anyway. And I stay true to me. I feel the resistance. I feel the need to put on some facade again. But I drop that and I lean into my true essence. Do it again and again. You might experience that the different parts of your body will highlight different stories, different situations, different people, different fears or areas of life that you are where you feel this deep fear. And that is very important to note. That's the whole purpose of disconnecting emotions with the different parts of the body. It is very meaningful. So you probably want to pay attention to that. And keep breathing in and feeling, witnessing the fear, the resistance, the tension, and exhaling and surrendering to the situation anyway. Feel the resistance towards the change and allow the change to happen anyway with trust and love. Until you feel the chill, the relaxation, even probably emptiness. Beautiful. And you just keep doing this as long as you feel that there are any parts of your body that is calling for some kind of cleansing, some kind of softening. And remember that doing this, softening yourself, with love, trust, and acceptance is going to decrease the level of pain, struggle, madness that you experience in your life. There's one more thing that I'd like to share with you. Um, a teaching from HOPI elders that keeps coming back to me. That is about being in the river and about the importance of letting go of the shore. So that we need to let go of the shore or anything in the river that we are hanging on to. And this is a time when we need to allow the river to take us and trust the river. Trust that it is not going to crush us. Trust the water and its wisdom to find a way through anything. And be in the river and be the river. The more we try to hang on things, either on the shore, on the root of a tree in the river, or on a stone, it's going to hurt us because the river is. We are at the part of this river which is getting really wild, and it is just better to be that leaf that allows the river to take it. So it is time to stop resisting, to soften, to become the leaf, to become the river, and trust that we are carried exactly where we need to be. I wish you all and myself that level of trust and faith to be present in our life so we can let go of the shore and we can become all the river. Keep on softening. Keep on coming back to you with love, with trust. Use your bodies. Oh gosh, use your bodies. Jump, swim, dance, laugh, cry. It's all medicine. All medicine. So I wish you the best. And please reach out with any thoughts. Please share. Please be together in this as well. So with much love, much love. I'll see you when I see you. Take care.